What's up, y'all? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and y'all know sometimes we get a little spicy, just a little bit. And we need to talk about Brit and Angela. It looks like Brit heard what the people had to say about this whole licensing situation, and I want to talk about it. So let's get into it. All right, y'all. So let's get into it. So if you see my latest review for Real Housewives of Atlanta, I said at the end of that video, I was going to have to come back to y'all with another video, mainly because while I was recording the review, a bunch of stuff was coming out. Angela was going back and forth with Brit. A blogger outed some stuff about Brit. It was a lot of stuff going on. And then Kenya decided to get on the internet and drop a promo for her YouTube channel. So here we are. Okay, so let's talk about it. So first up, let's talk about Miss Kenya. So Kenya dropped a promotional video for her YouTube channel, and I'll play a little bit of it because this song that she is using is Kendrick Lamar's opener for his halftime performance for the Super Bowl. So I think that will probably get me copywritten or a copywritten strike. So I'll just play a little bit of it, okay?
It's a cultural divide. I'm gonna get it on the floor.
You really about to? So the rest of the song is playing. Now, I don't think I will get a copywritten strike, but I don't trust the NFL, okay? Y'all not about to get me caught up. But basically, this is just a promo for Kenya, letting it be known that her confessional video or her live will happen on Friday, because yesterday was Tuesday, and a lot of people were waiting for her to, get on YouTube, and she didn't. So some people took it as her basically backing out or copying out, but it seems like she said, no, I changed the date. And this promo gives me hope that Kenya did consult like a PR team or a lawyer. So I don't feel like she's going to get onto her live, or even if it's a YouTube video, crash it out. Okay, I don't think she is. So I'm hopeful. But shouts out to some of the tweets that were used in the promo. I saw one of my mutuals, the diva herself, Miss Erica De Niro, was featured in the video as well as the Bravo Shade Room. And y'all know we reference them over here all the time, and a few of the accounts that I see all the time online. So let's talk about the tweets. So first up, one from my mutuals, shouts out to Jules. It says this: they better shake the table and invite Kenya Moore to the reunion, or to the RHOA reunion. And I agree with him. Like, if Kenya played such a pivotal role in the shakeup of the cast because she was no longer there, and they're going to consistently talk about it throughout the season, then she should be at the reunion. What they could do is just remove the cast members off the stage and just have Brit and Kenya there having a conversation with Andy, or Kenya can be on a separate stage and Andy go to her. But either way, her thoughts and opinions should be conveyed if they're going to keep talking about her. Then an account that we referenced on here once or twice, KC, said this: Lord, here goes the crying and playing victim. Nobody is a victim in this situation. You've been antagonizing Kenya for 4 episodes, and Kenya took it to hell. Hashtag RHOA. I agree. Then you had the diva herself, Miss Erica De Niro, saying, an icon, Kenya, the moment. Hashtag RHOA. Then another account that I see all the time, Echo, saying, how many times is Brianna quoting Kenya? Not Brianna. Y'all's refusal to call that lady by her real name will always tickle me. Okay. Then the Carter files, I can't see most of it because Kenya, the way that the screenshot was taken is blocking it, but it says partly her obsession with Kenya, and then Kenya's in front of it, studied. So I guess they're basically saying you can tell that Brit studied Kenya and she's low-key obsessed. Then the Bravo Shade Room said this: I know Brit's not blaming Kenya for losing her license. Lady, don't piss me off. Hashtag RHOA. Then you have Dustin Cone, who said they really trying to make Brit look like a victim this episode when she's been antagonizing Kenya since the premiere episode. Hashtag RHOA. And then the last one from AD3 Marie said, Andy really let that Val Guttersnipe come on to this show and flat out say that Kenya started the entire ordeal. When she couldn't even specifically name what Kenya did, that triggered her. After all Kenya gave to this show, hashtag watch what happens live. So I feel like these tweets are really what we're going to get from Kenya. I think all of these tweets pretty much summarize how she feels about the situation. She did caption the video with this statement saying, "These are my confessions. They've had plenty to say. Now it's my turn. This Friday on YouTube, I'm addressing the mess, the rumors, and the real story. Oh, and I have the receipts unfiltered. YouTube.com/Kenya Moore Official, dropping this Friday at 8 p.m. So that's what Kenya had to say. I don't know how this is going to go. I hope it goes in her favor, but you never know. But like I said, the promo gave me hope that Kenya did consult somebody before doing her live on Tuesday, because I noticed, I was like, dang, I forgot that she was going live Tuesday. But I was just like, well, maybe she realized that wasn't a good move. But the fact that she says she's going live on Friday makes me feel like she consulted maybe a PR team, a lawyer, or a publicist, and they're going to help her out, because Kenya can't just show up on camera any kind of way. Like, I think she's going to have like a professional background, something, like you just can't be like me, like a regular YouTuber with just a plain white background. Like, it's gonna have to give something, Kenya. But hopefully she gets all that she needs to get out and we can move on from this situation. So speaking of moving on, let's talk about Cynthia and Crystal. So Crystal and Cynthia have a podcast called The Humble Brag. If you don't know who Crystal is, Crystal Minkoff from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. They were interviewed by Carlos King. So I'm going to put the thumbnail of the video on the screen. Go check it out. I thought it was okay. Like, I feel like Cynthia just keeps saying the same thing when it comes to this whole Kenya situation. She basically said that even if her and Kenya weren't in a good place, or if they were like still the best of friends, she would still say the same thing that she told Kenya and what she said in interviews. She also spoke about how she said she didn't feel protected on Ultimate Girls Trip, which I find a very interesting perspective, because to me, I felt like Cynthia wasn't used to people liking Kenya off the bat. I think Cynthia is used to being seen as the Kenya whisperer, or being in a group where Kenya is not liked by everybody, or she's hated by the group. And with Ultimate Girls Trip, the first season, a lot of the women enjoyed Kenya. Probably not Ramona, but Ramona is Ramona. But everybody had positive things to say about her. Luann was positive about Kenya. So was Kyle, Teresa, and Melissa. Like, everyone liked Kenya, and I don't think Cynthia knew what to do with that, because she says in the interview that she felt unprotected, and I don't know if she thought Kenya was going to be like her partner in crime in the house, or she was just like, oh my gosh, I'm really out here by myself. I don't have someone to like be my friend on this show, because Kenya was operating in a space of like, oh, I don't know these people. These women don't really know me other than what I've seen on TV. Same for them, but I'm gonna have a good time. And she did, and the girls loved her for that. But Cynthia was very awkward on that show. So I was just like, you still holding on to that? So it's interesting, because it's not just Kenya who has a problem with Cynthia, it's Cynthia who has a problem with Kenya as well, because they're both holding on to things right about now. The other thing I took away from this interview is I wish Crystal would have behaved this way on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, because eventually Crystal faded into the background, whereas her first season, I really wasn't fond of Crystal, but I feel like eventually I would have grown to like her if she maintained the same personality, if she still stood in who she was. Because when she told Carlos King, I don't think you really like me because you have very like negative and harsh critiques about me, like, and Carlos was like, oh, and had to explain himself. I was like, okay, Crystal. Okay. But yeah, if you want to check out the interview, check it out. Like I said, Cynthia's saying the same thing over and over. The clips will probably hit the blogs here soon, but she didn't say anything groundbreaking. Just that her and Kenya haven't spoken yet. But probably Kenya will address this in her live once it comes out on Friday. So moving on, let's talk about the Brit Eady of it all. Okay. So to start us off, let's give a shout out to Color Me Pink, aka Keisha. She did a expose video on Brit Eady, and she posted the video yesterday, and I got a chance to watch it, and I do think it's a well-crafted video. She starts from Brit's origin story to, how she got scouted by a modeling agency, to her dating Rick Ross and Young Berg, to her fallout with Jennifer Williams from Basketball Wives, to how we know her now as the insurance lady. Like, it was a good video. It also kind of exposed her husband too, because the people are saying that he not faithful allegedly, and he also is a known scammer down in Atlanta allegedly. So that just tells me that whoever Kenya got this information from, or if she did it herself, she had to dig for it, but it was already out there. So not saying that what Kenya did was right, because I don't think it was. I think she took it too far with posting the salacious images, or even playing the actual, videos of Brit doing these acts. But it doesn't seem like the information that was given to her was by way of a significant other that Brit used to be in relation to. It seems like all of this was available online, and Kenya just used it against her. So let's get into Angela versus Brit, okay? So if you watched last Sunday's episode, Brit and Angela got into it at Kelly's Peace Brunch, because Angela questioned Brit when Shamia revealed that Brit told her that she lost her insurance license because of what Kenya did at her hair salon. Well, we end up finding out that Angela is a mortgage loan originator. And she was like, they just don't take your license away because of a rumor. There needs to be probable cause. So she pretty much asked Brit, well, how and why is this happening? And Brit blew a full-on attitude, like she blew a gasket. And they went back and forth. Then later on in that conversation, Brit let it be known that she's under investigation, that she did not, in fact, lose her license just yet. But now a lot of people are calling into question if that's even true, because people started digging and found out that Brit did work for Allstate, but she stopped working for Allstate back in, I think, 2022. So a lot of people are like, well, what happened? Did you just quit your job, or was your license taken away back in 2022? So like I said, people are digging for information right now, and a video by a TikToker by the name of Giorgio Says, he has a YouTube channel, and he was the guy that, blew up Juan and Robin's situation, where we found out about the lady in Canada. Well, he did it again with Brit Eady, and I want to play the clip for you guys. It is 4 minutes long, so I'm probably going to speed it up.
Well, not sure what happened here, but there was another poster board that really stood out to me that was not shown. Do you guys remember when this all went down and people that were at this event were leaking photos from the situation? And there was a photo here of a poster board that said insurance fraud ho, and then there's some text and some article. You obviously can't read it, but last night's episode, we see Angela kind of call out Brit, not for lying so much, but asking her, well, why would they just take your license away without cause? What was the cause? And then obviously we saw her snap. But essentially, we know that she doesn't have her insurance agency anymore. And in fact, she was with Allstate under, their umbrella for 3 years before she ended up selling that agency. And now she has a whole agency, as she calls it, called Jumpstart, or Agency Jumpstart. It's basically a masterclass on how you can be a successful insurance agent, owner, whatever, by following her blueprint. And you guys know I'm very nosy. You guys know this. So I went through and I dug through the entire website. I went through disclaimers, refund policy, went through all the bits. I did everything except buy this masterclass. And here are all the major red flags. And I'm going to say this up front. Don't ever buy anyone's course, okay? Don't. Most of the time, the things that are in those courses you can find online. You just got to do a little bit more digging. But if you really want to learn, the information is out there. Now let's get into this website and all the red flags. So first thing that stood out to me, this entire website, everything about this masterclass is so super vague. No clear outline of any of the deliveries, of the formats or modules or any of that stuff. So essentially the user has no way of assessing the value of this product before opening their wallets. Red flag number 2, no verified reviews or testimonials, not even any fake ones from any of her friends. I mean, no students have bought your course yet. I mean, I think this website opened in 2023 or something, or at least that's when the disclaimer was written, and there's no social proof, nobody, not even a Facebook group, nothing. There is a very much heavy reliance on her personal success, although she doesn't really map out what those actually are. So here's what I'm gonna say. If you actually want to be an insurance agent or own your own agency, if you just contact State Farm, Allstate, Nationwide, any of them, they have programs where they will essentially teach you everything you need to know and then help you open your agency for free. It's very limited contact information on there, so it's very vague. There's no phone number, there's no physical address, and it comes off more like a sales funnel website rather than an actual like educational platform, because they use these buzzwords like once in a lifetime opportunity and get my secret sauce. There's not even any real educational credentials as she's listed, and I know she went to college, so at the very least you could put that in there, or at least talk about your experiences when you had your own agency as an insurance agent. But this is the best part. Strictly no refunds, guys. That's right. You're not going to be able to see anything about how the course works until you buy it, but if you get in there and realize this is all stuff I could have Googled, well, too bad, so sad. And if you buy into any of her subscription models and you try it out for 2 days and you're like, this has no value, well, you're still going to be stuck paying the entire month. There's no prorated refunds either. And in the disclaimer, these are also red flags. They are saying we have zero accountability for anything you see in there, or if the links that we have to other places to give you the information and they do something shady, we are not responsible, so don't come over here. And I've not seen any type of press or any type of media surrounding this company, whatever it is. So again, I wonder, is this going to be a theme throughout the season? Is this where the ladies start to pick up on maybe there's something off about this girl?
So I wanted to play this clip for you guys because it's gaining a lot of traction. And I actually went to Brit's page because of Giorgio to see if what he was talking about was true. And it is. Plus a couple of Reddit threads popped up as well. So let me read one of them. This person said, Brit Eady's insurance company. It says, not that long ago, I was reading some articles from the Real Housewives discussion sub, and they had a link to Brit Eady's insurance company on there. Now, let me tell you something. I wasn't expecting much from this, but I wasn't expecting this little either. You see, my dad owns one of the biggest law firms in the world that primarily handles insurance. So I do have some knowledge on the background behind these things. When you get onto her website, you are first greeted with a video by Brit herself, where she literally says absolutely nothing about her business, what her business does. Just a ton of empty promises. Sign up now and you'll grow your business. Just zero information at all, not even about what the classes supposedly are. Well, unless you count her repeatedly saying things such as, I'm going to help you find your way, map out your blueprint, but again, tell you nothing about how things will achieve it. And the rest of the website also says fuck all about what you will be doing. By the way, those 3 photos and that video on the site, that's the only shit you get from it. The one thing that also stood out to me was in what we will learn section, how to create multiple revenue streams as a business. I'm not saying this as 100% sure, but to me that allegedly just sounds like some MLM girl boss crap. She also wants $495 for one and only masterclass, but wait, for only $149.99, you can buy a book and do it on your own. She even says it's the exact same plan, so what's the point of the class? Or for $49.99, you can take a step further with some ebook and really expand your knowledge. The only thing I can glean from this is I wouldn't be trusting someone who can't even give a basic ass outline of what you will learn, or from someone who can't figure out through from through. Could it be legit? Sure, but why not just spell out what you will be doing instead of word mumbo jumbo that means nothing? So I read all of that just to say that it's a lot of people that had Brit on their radar before all of this stuff happened with her and Kenya. And I think it's going to get worse as the season continues. So I guess Brit heard the people was talking about her, so she hopped on to Threads to say this. Hey, insurance agent here. I think it's important that what happens in our personal lives can affect our professional lives. I'm no stranger to that. I've seen many cases online where people have been fired from their jobs for, I think she meant for behavior due to social media access or camera phones. She then goes on to say, if you tune into last night's episode of RHOA, I mentioned my license was under investigation, not lost. Mortgage loan officers are not reserved on licensed insurance agents. It's a completely different field of work. When your job is of public trust, it's important to investigate claims of fraud. Hashtag class dismiss. Hashtag still got love for her though. First off, she a liar. Brit is a liar. This is your like fifth time lying, girl, because you did tell Shamia that you lost your license. Because why would Shamia just be like, well, Brit, I know you told me you lost your license. How are you? And that's when Angela asks, like, how did that happen? And then you copped a full blown attitude with her. And then only when she pressed you about it, then you switched it to, oh, I'm under investigation. Girl, you just be lying. So then Angela got wind of what Brit said on Threads and said this on her Insta story. She said, FYI, this is in the case of any state license, real estate, mortgage, or insurance. Hashtag no shade. She said state licensure in Georgia requires a just cause for investigation, meaning the licensing board must have a valid reason, such as violation of law or rules, to initiate a probe into a licensee's conduct. I hold 2 professional licenses. My question still stands. What is the cost? I said, come on, Angela. See, I like that. I like those types of comebacks. Like when you present the facts, you can't argue with facts. Angela said, girl, I got 2 licenses. It doesn't matter if it's a mortgage, insurance, whatever, girl. Nobody can take your license away without probable cause. So what you do? And I like it. So Brit then responded to that by posting a picture of herself and what she looked like on Watch What Happens Live. And on top of that, she put the definition of obsessed. And she said this: obsession, verb, past tense, obsessed, past particular, obsessed. It says preoccupied or filled the mind of someone continually, intrusively, and to a troubling extent. So beneath the definition of obsession, she puts, keeps talking about me. Y'all fans/trolls are obsessed. And then she also says, I'm every blog's clickbait at this point. Girl, see, I hate when the girls do this. It's frustrating when the girls start playing this card of like, everyone's obsessed with me. I'm clickbait. Of course. You're on Real Housewives of Atlanta, one of Bravo's biggest reality shows, one of the biggest reality shows in the Black community and in America. What did you think was going to be happening? Of course, people are going to use you for clickbait. Of course, fans are interested in what's going on in your life. Of course, people are going to troll you. You wanted this. You wanted the lifestyle. You wanted the fame. So you take the good with the bad. Like acting like, oh my God, it's an obsession. Yeah, girl, people are obsessed with this situation. I don't know about you, but we've been hearing about this situation since June of 2024. Now we're watching it play out, and what you said it was isn't what we're seeing. So I'm confused as to why you're upset now, other than your feelings are getting hurt because the hate that you thought Kenya was going to get, you getting it, and it's a lot more than you can handle. So continuing on, I actually Googled why would somebody lose their insurance license as an insurance agent in Georgia. And this is what popped up. It says in Georgia, an insurance agent can lose their license through various actions, including violating insurance laws, misrepresenting facts, or engaging in dishonest practices. Specifically, license suspended or revocation can occur if an agent misuses funds, misrepresents policy terms, fails to pass an exam, or convicted of a felony. Additionally, failing to comply with state regulations or orders from insurance commissioner can also lead to license loss. And then they added at the bottom, it says if you also don't continue your educational requirements. So nothing that Kenya did would warrant Brit losing her license. And I want to play this clip for y'all of Claudia Jordan. She does this like YouTube show / podcast with Dustin and Carlos King. And she basically says she reached out to a friend that does insurance and asked them, like, would this be a reason why Brit would lose her insurance license? And the person basically told her no. The person explained that they actually know OF, like content creators and strippers that are still insurance agents. Like they have not lost their license due to the things that they do beyond during insurance. So let me play the clips for you guys.
And you lose your license for, is there like clauses for personal behavior and all that kind of stuff? Like, what do they call those?
Morality clauses.
Morality clauses. My friend that did my loan said, no, there are strippers that do all kinds of OnlyFans, all that kind of stuff, that have these licenses that they don't lose their jobs. So that is bullshit. They said she would lose her license for financial crimes, fraud, things of that matter. Not if, and think how fast it happened, right? We are all just seeing the episode now. This happened when it happened. So you mean to tell me between that, the Kenya Moore hair care event, and then a month later, your company knew about this big scandal that was at a private event and you lost your license? I think she's playing the victim card extra hard now. Like she sees an opening. She tried to comfort the queen in her mind. That didn't really pan out the way she thought. She got read down and made to look like erratic. So now let me play this victim card thing. And do you see how her mother was looking at it when she was telling her story? Her mother was looking at like, then at the end, she realized, oh, I'm on TV. Yeah, that girl, because you're, they hate on you because you're pretty, girl. But I look at her mother's face. Go back. Her mother was like, here we go again. That's what I got. That's what I got from that pretty,
And the thing about it is I don't think Brit is smart. And I'm not trying to dunk on a lady or anything, but it's interesting that she's a millennial. So she saw reality TV come into existence. So she knows how the girls get down when it comes to reality TV. Anything you say on the show, people start digging. And the fact that she said, oh, I lost my insurance license as an insurance agent because of what Kenya did, I don't think she realized that people were going to implement like critical thinking skills. Like, girl, you are in the lion's den when it comes to Real Housewives. The Bravo fans are nutsos, okay? Like, girl, you are not David. The Lord's not coming to save you. The angels aren't coming to protect you. Like, you need to get real smart real quick, because I'm like, when you said that, people started to be like, okay, what Kenya did was 48 hours ago. So you telling me in 2 days the board came up against you saying your license was in jeopardy? And like Angela said, what was the probable cause? And then I Google, how do you lose your insurance license as an insurance agent? And everything said it points to you either being dishonest or committing like fraudulent acts or not continuing your education. So which one is it? Did they think you don't have the education? Did they deem you untrustworthy? Or have you committed fraud? See, you saying things, not understanding that the people was going to digging. So that's all I got for you guys today. As always, remember to be bravely authentic. Definitely hop down in them comments below and subscribe and like the video. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.